Hey there everyone, welcome back to another exciting video for the Shibarium community and its partners. I'm Season Shib, and my mission is to spread knowledge and positivity within the Shibarium ecosystem. This video is the 13th of all X Space Weekly DAO Update series. This X Space was held August 16th, 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update. This one's number 30, ladies and gentlemen, 30 times, 30 weeks we've got together to have a conversation every 7 days about K9 Finance DAO. And we've got some big news today coming off ETH Toronto. Much of this we've been leading up to with all these other spaces. So thank you for pulling up early and live on a Friday, an unusual time, usually on Thursdays, but due to travel, a lot of us were unable to be there yesterday. So we appreciate you guys adjusting times. So wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it may be, good evening, or even if you're listening to the recording. Hi, Season. I know you're listening. Appreciate you, bro. We're going to go through a whole bunch of updates. We've got people who were at the conference. We're going to hear from people who attended. We're going to hear what their thoughts were on the processes. We're going to get news about the hackathon. We're going to get news about the dogs on stage, the dogs at the booth. We're going to get it all. But how we're going to do it is we're going to do it with your help. I need some help. I need people to request speaker spots first, because I can't be the only one to talk about how it went. There are other people that are here who were there. So get up here. I need you to hit the request speaker button in the bottom left so that you can come up here and tell us how it went. Now, if you're somewhere and you can't talk, but you do want to contribute, if you were able to go, you can comment in the bottom right. You can tell us how it went. We could probably go down there and read about it and contribute that way. So get the comment section popping down there. Drop your memes and tell us how you feel about the event. Also, share the spaces. If you know somebody who was there, you can share it for them. Send them a DM. Let them know we're doing a recap. We'd love to hear what they thought of everything. And last, as emojis, helps us know that you hear us. It's nice when you guys do that. We can tell that you're listening. Gives us an idea what you think of the station. So as we go through the day, I'm going to approve people that come up. You can see I've got a few people up here already. In the order that I got my requests, Archangel beat everyone to the mic. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing well, man. Thank you for joining us. You were definitely there. What was your first impression, short first thoughts for everybody coming from the conference to here?
Yeah, so I think my voice is still recovering. I was just talking to everybody between 8 and 3 a.m., I think it was. So great time. K9 had a great presence there, great showing. Even at the LTD boat party, the K9 had quite a few people in that VIP section and all over the boat. So it was a great time and had by all.
I can't wait to hear more about some of your experiences, because I saw you all over the place, and I know Buzz is waiting to hear about everybody's experiences, because as we know, he was not there as Buzz. It turned out he was on stage giving a presentation as the first speaking K9 ever on stage at Futurist Conference. Buzz, what was that like for you being up there?
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, for those who don't know, the dog at the conference was actually supposed to be wearing a Buzz suit, but at the last minute, the HR department for the dog, because the dog is an actor and is unionized within the actors union, they decided that we couldn't put a Buzz suit on the dog. But I am here and very eager to hear about everyone's experience at the conference.
The good thing about this is the next time we actually do get together, we'll just have to put a dog suit on the Buzz and get the inverse, because there's no contract that prevents us from dressing you up, unfortunately. I don't remember you signing anything like this. Turtle, did he sign any documents like that? Do you remember him going through any kind of a no suits, no dog suits clause?
No, not that I recall.
All right, we're going to check with HR. I know Turtle was there. Turtle was at the entire event. He was in the hackathon room quite a bit, because I know that was going off. What were your impressions?
I thought the event was incredible. I've been to a number of crypto conferences, and this one really took the spot as my number one experience at a conference. And everything looked great. I was kind of watching with my binoculars from afar, but couldn't have been more excited about how the conference went.
It was nice to know that you were there. I did not get a chance to meet up with Turtle, you guys. I lost a little bit of sleep over it, and I held him accountable in DMs. We'll get together, buddy. I know how busy you were, and you know how everything goes at those events. So we'll link up. But you know who I did link up with and spend a lot of time with? Frank. And I was so glad that I did, because he's exactly who you guys think he is in person. Frank, what were your impressions pulling up to this event? Did it blow your mind or what?
It was amazing. And I don't know what you want me to talk about, but the first thing is we had an initial meetup. It was going to be 5 folks, and it was just something we had planned, and it kind of spread out. And wound up, we made a reservation for 20, and it spread a little bit more than we wound up with 40, and like I say, it was amazing. There was Bad Idea was there, Shane and Mr. Lightspeed, Funk, Coin Merge was there, Sharbie, LTD, Centennial. I can't name them all. Danger. It was amazing, and just it was amazing seeing what I was a part of. And then when we went to the conference itself, half of the downstairs floor was us, and all of us working together on our own projects, but towards the same goal of building Shibarium and SHIB. It was incredible.
The initial party, we actually took over a small pizza place. It ended up being that the entire place ended up as people left. It was just more people from here that came in. Now, some of the people that were there were parts of SHIB team as well. So we actually had representation from not just all over the place in the Shibarium ecosystem, but there were members of SHIB team there too. So it was cool to really get a chance to link up with people who, I didn't ever think I'd get a chance to meet to have pizza at what was actually a very nice pizza place too, I will say. And was it as overwhelming? Because when I walked in, I was actually pretty breathtaken by the architecture of the interior. I took a couple of big pictures of the sweeping setup they had with the gimbaling lights and stuff like that. What did you think about walking in and seeing that for the first time?
Yep, it was a breathtaking. It was really was.
When they lit it up with the branding for K9 during all that speech too, because the red colors in the background and stuff, it really gave the place an ambiance. I think K9, because they had, I don't know if you guys saw the layout. I mean, it was hard to tell if you couldn't tell, but the K9 booth was the immediate right from the main entrance. So as people were filing in, there's something about the human brain. When you go into a place, people usually file off to the right. So when those dogs were in the building, they were the literal first thing when people were walking in, because you kind of hit a wall and you either had to go to the left and go to the main stage area where all the speakers were at, and then if you went to the right, you could not avoid the K9 booth with the photo area and the dogs right there. So the setup and the placement on it was fantastic, and I don't imagine that was on accident to have it placed there. I did see that Buzz dropped out. I am aware that Buzz is traveling today. I know I said all of us were traveling yesterday, but he is traveling for separate purposes, not related to ETH Toronto. So he's stuck in an airport and might be intermittent throughout everything. So you guys don't worry if he drops out. It won't be a problem. We'll get him back up in here. So I want to go, and I'll actually go to Turtle for some of this, because the biggest news we have, I know we're talking about weekly based stuff, but very, very recent news is Gate.io today, right? Turtle, that's just not even an hour old.
Yeah, as you can imagine, I was pretty tired from travel, like I'm sure many folks here are, and I woke up to my phone vibrating off the top of my head. I had left it very close just in case anything came up, and we were up very early supporting the Gate listing, and so far are very pleased to see the kind of volume that's taken place. Listings always create volatility, but getting onto a tier one like Gate, I think is a very good thing on the long term.
Certainly on the back of having all this talk this weekend, being able to close it out and have any new member joining the group see that this was already happening, and then it kicks off the day after. It's for momentum. And there were some images that were posted in the chat about how many members were actually waiting on the listing on Gate.io. And somebody remarked about the comparison between on-chain holders to the amount of people waiting on Gate, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, it looked like over 50,000 folks were interested, or it was oversubscribed in the Gate startup environment. And their team let us know that was a good indicator. So we have solid expectations around Gate, and it's certainly the biggest exchange that K9 has been listed on with significantly more organic volume than most of the other exchanges out there. So, I think patience is always required with these things, but if the conference shared anything with anyone, it's that K9's here to stay for the long haul.
And Buzz, we're talking about immediately hitting Gate following all of these great things that happened at the conference. How important was it to have that for new members that are joining, to see that was ongoing while everything was happening?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I think it speaks to how hardworking everyone is, not only when we're at home working on K9, but in person as well.
It was a big deal. Funk finally pulled up. Is your microphone working too, buddy?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. My wife's working after 4 days of childcare, so with the kids a little bit, but happy to be here and got some updates for y'all, and had a great time at ETH Toronto, so looking forward to giving you updates all on that as well.
So the first question I kind of went around with everybody when we were just checking mics was, what were your first impressions? I mean, you go get your badge, you check in, you walk in. What were some of the first things you thought when you hit the door?
Man, I didn't know what to expect when I got inside. It was probably 5 times nicer inside than I expected in terms of the aesthetics, how well everything was decorated, how well the booths were set up. At first, when I walked up to the K9 booth, I was confused. There was 2 pedestals, and I knew obviously about the dogs coming, but I just wasn't piecing it together. And I looked over at the SHIB, and they were totally treat branded, so that gave me some instincts that maybe something treat related was happening. It turned out to not be the case, but I'm sure around the corner. And so then I just got to work, man, and got talking to dozens of people, made a lot of networks, connections, a lot of DMs I still got to follow up on to bring added value to K9. I think that's the value of those conferences, is that the people that you meet, you can then connect with and provide value to each other and work together in a lot of ways that, I don't know, it's just not the same from a Telegram message than actually meeting someone and seeing what they're about. So really exciting.
And what were you thinking? Because we just talked the fact that the booth was basically the first right from the main entrance. So everybody funneled in, had to come right by the booth. What was that like, having everybody's first impression be right with you guys?
Well, it was definitely prime real estate, prime time slot there. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if K9 got more exposure and seen more than almost any other project there, at least in the top 5. Because of the location, because of the dogs, and just because of how many spots that we had speaking and otherwise. And not only that, but our army. We had all of our mods there. We had Radar, we had Frank, we had more coming in and being like a huge K9 army there, a cabana, we had everything. So a huge amount of exposure.
So let's talk about that, since that's the first time the cabana has been mentioned. That was something that was very popular because people got out there, and it was even something that throughout the day, the conversation in the whale chat had a lot of jokes in there about whether or not the drinks were being refreshed and stuff. So when you first walked out to the cabana, what did you think when you saw all those pillows and the whole setup?
So when I walked out to the cabana, it's attached to the SHIB one. And so, you get a little bit starstruck when you first see it. You're like, oh my God, we're like literally connected to the same chairs as the SHIB. It's like one and the same. And being able to meet some of the people that are officially there representing Shiba was an honor. And besides that, just the VIP section of it, where only VIP people got to go to these cabanas, and it was cool. It was refreshing. There was a beautiful lake view of Lake Ontario, and just an excellent opportunity. Of course, it was a huge draw for anyone that was able to go to those VIPs. And we had so many drinks there, and we had so much energy there. I think our cabana was probably the most popular one. We had people from all the other cabanas kind of gathering around and hanging out with Shiba Inu and K9 Finance.
And they were also right next to crypto.com and a couple of the other ones too. So it was nice seeing the people file through, and it was in between the cabanas and the pool. So it had some nice traffic that was right there. The best part was the conversations, I think, were easier outside than they were inside. Inside, it was loud. Inside, they had the PA piped everywhere. So it was cool to be able to walk people out of doors and be able to go have those conversations if somebody wanted to talk. I know Lightspeed did that a few times just to go, catch some air with people. It was nice to be able to do that. So it was very cool watching them refresh that too, because I know how important it was to have everybody out there staying with their liquid libations. I laughed at Buzz sending, at one point I saw the sign that he sent out there. I wasn't out there when those went out there, but that cracked me up that he was participating from afar. So I know he's not here listening right now, but I shout out to him for doing what he could to still participate, because I know there were a lot of people that didn't get to make it. So he still made a little impact on his own out there. Let's also talk about some of the other announcements that were made up there, because there were other stuff from Shiba Inu, and I know we could go and talk about some of their stuff. There were big announcements from them related to some of the things going on with India. They're going to be reaching a larger audience in India, and that's something I've talked about with a lot of projects that are all related to SHIB, is that there's a huge audience of people in India. I was excited for their announcements. I'm sure, I don't want to assume, but Turtle and Funk, were you guys out there to listen to Shaitoshi's speech? Do you guys remember anything that stood out for you about what they had mentioned? Turtle, go ahead.
Yeah. I think SHIB announcing that is just a testament to more utility coming into the blockchain, into Shibarium, and utility and usage is what drives TVL. and TVL is the rising tide that lifts all boats in the ecosystem. And seeing, just seeing additional use cases come to fruition that have, significant amount of revenue potential, I think is really bullish for the ecosystem. And I think there's a lot of things like that happening between Zama, liquid staking with K9, and other things that I know about behind the scenes where, the ecosystem is evolving rapidly, and deals like that and real business development with real organizations is kind of mission critical to making it all work. So, I think it sometimes people expect the most out of most excitement out of announcements as possible, and sometimes they fall flat. But I do think it's another step in the right direction, and overall, everyone seemed to receive it pretty well.
Funk, what about you when you heard all that from him?
Yeah, I'll add on that. Hey, I'll also add, maybe we could bring up Mayo and Crypto Queen. Both of them were at the conference as well. So it'd be good to get larger community and also people a little bit especially with Maya, that's not necessarily in the K9 community as deep, to get some of her perspectives. But on that point, the SHIB announcement, for me, was really bullish. I mean, they're setting themselves up internationally. Obviously, being US based, it's very easy to look at what's hype in the US, what's a big deal in the US, and you look at those international communities, and I don't know, you sweep them under the rug or poo-poo them from time to time. It's like, oh, I don't know what this is, so I don't know how big or how important it is. But India is one of the fastest growing economies. It is the largest, I think, did it overtake China as the largest population in the whole world. So when you're looking at global DeFi adoption, those things matter. And being able to have that influence outside of the US, it's going to be almost easier to get US adoption if you have that global adoption with it, because of all the networking over there. So I think it's huge. Obviously, Shiba Inu had that huge donation in India. I'm guessing it's probably the most popular ecosystem in cryptocurrency in India because of that COVID relief that Vitalik had done during the SHIB burn event. So yeah, for me, everything that SHIB put out was bullish. There was a little bit of issues with the aspect ratio on the actual presentation, so some of the words were getting cut off, and that was kind of funny, but a little bit frustrating. But they got that fixed about halfway through it, and for me, what was good about it too is it summarized everything going on in Shiba Inu. There's a lot more than you think. There were screenshots of the metaverse. There were screenshots of the Shibarium hub, the social platform, the swap. You kind of forget how many pots are on the stove for SHIB, and it's unclear which ones are going to boil over first and be catalyst for that ecosystem. So no treat announcement there, but I'm sure that's on the stove as well. And so many things coming for Shiba Inu, and they're clearly hard at work, and a lot of people FUD Shiba Inu and Satoshi and all that, but they shouldn't, because those are the people that are working day in and day out to try to moon one of the biggest ecosystems that there is in cryptocurrency.
One thing that stood out for me was some of the announcements about the Shiba Eternity card game and the addition of additional games. They actually had a little bit of footage of a game that popped up, which for me, I remarked as, hey, that's the game that they say exists on those commercials where they say, I promise this game really exists. I love little play to earn. I love Web3 gaming and stuff. So I've been following some of that excitedly, and to get a little teaser about them doing that, I think it's important brand wise. SHIB relies on a lot of cuteness, and I think games like that are fun to play are going to be a huge reach. And again, like we're talking about, India's audience of over 1 billion people, them going into a long-term partnership with a marketing media, like Hollywood-esque style company, and getting into games, it's reaching people other than us grown adults. Like, it's such a broader reach, and it's such a longer time play. So I'm very excited about it too. So there's cool SHIB updates. Make sure you guys are following all the other accounts that posted all of those. The entire Satoshi video is actually on the SHIB token account right now. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, it's one of the most recent posts. It's up there full length in the proper aspect ratio, as Funk mentioned. You can watch it with all of the lettering on the screen, because that was absolutely a thing. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, it's 11 minutes and 34 seconds long. It's totally worth it. And then if you go back and watch it, come back and leave a comment or jump into the K9 chat and see what you guys thought of it, because it's worth it. And it's something that leaves you with something to think about, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. I do want to just remark, because I don't have too much longer here. I can't just leave these kids for a full hour by themselves. So I just want to mention a couple other updates if you don't mind me doing that right now.
No, go for it.
All right. Yeah, the card game seemed like a little bit of a Hearthstone clone of sorts, and Hearthstone is exceptionally popular, fun card game. Probably one of the most popular online card games of all time. So hopefully that turns out to be pretty good. A couple things I wanted to mention on the update side. We do have that mystery box secret announcement that's still coming. I haven't gone live with it yet just because I got caught up in ETH Toronto, things like that. So there is, besides this huge gate listing, which is huge, besides the announcement of the date of Bone Crusher, which is huge for us, we have another announcement. It's in the works. Can't say much more about it than that, but it's you're not going to expect what it is at all, and it's going to be surprising and amazing. So expect that on the way. That announcement will definitely come before Bone Crusher's launched. So stay tuned for that. In addition to that, we got our StockTwits ticker. So our chart on StockTwits is live. I've been working with Neo. He was also at the conference. It was great hanging out with him. He was actually my first intro to Telegram. Neo got me into Telegram. He got me into cryptocurrency from Facebook. So, well, not into cryptocurrency, but the first person to get me into the DeFi section of it. So big shout out to Neo. He's going to be helping us this weekend, 5 p.m. Each night on the weekend. We're going to be rating StockTwits. So get those accounts ready. You wouldn't believe how much getting StockTwits trending actually does bring in volume and trades. People sit around on StockTwits, wait for cryptocurrency to be trending, and they just buy it. And so there's a huge audience there. Millions of people use StockTwits around the world, and it's a huge opportunity to gather new holders. I've seen it 2x tokens if you're trending every day, 5x tokens. And people go, how did you get StockTwits trending? How did you do it? Well, we have the secret sauce. We've had it for a long time. Neo's had the secret sauce for a long time. And we're gonna be working together to do that, but we need the help from the community. So if you want to talk about the best value for your efforts, StockTwits is going to be it compared to all the socials, at least in the time frame where you can get trending. One thing to note is if we're trending too much, the algorithm will change and make it more difficult. So it's kind of a limited time offer, but a huge value recap there. So get on StockTwits. It's very simple. All you literally have to do is when it comes time to post, and we want to do it all in a very specific time, is get on there, like, and follow. I'm going to hop off here before my kids pollute the soundboard.
We got you, bud. Thank you. And I can reinforce a little bit about StockTwits because that's something that's played a large role over at Bad Idea. It's massively important to be able to spin up a StockTwits trend and get people to go over there. And StockTwits in the long term also has their own social media that's pretty active, both on X. They have a primary account for StockTwits, which does a lot of primary stock stuff, but they'll talk about crypto and stuff from time to time. But they also have StockTwits Crypto, which is a separate account they've started, which has a much smaller following, and you have a much higher likelihood of being able to interact with them on the StockTwits Crypto account. So make sure you're following both of them, because it's one thing to go raid the StockTwits account. It's another one to go raid the crypto account, where they're more likely to have an audience of people that are interested. So the other advantage is the guys that run the StockTwits account are definitely the younger interns, because I did get a chance at Bad Idea to do a Spaces with them at one point. So the more we can get trending over there, the reason we were able to get StockTwits to do a Spaces with us at Bad Idea is because we were constantly trending over there, and we were one of the only cryptos that would trend on days that stocks were trending. So when I reached out to them and said something about doing a Spaces, they're like, yeah, man, we see you there all the time. So let's get the K9 thing spinning up, and then a long-term goal would be eventually to get StockTwits to come to a Spaces. And I don't mean the crypto account with a small following. We did a Spaces with the big boy account. So that's this. We'll set the same goal here, but that's going to require a series of days trending, because it requires what's it called, the rule of 7, where you have to see something like 7 times before you really make a commitment. So we have to be in their face constantly as this token and this logo that the intern sees every day, because the intern is the one that makes the trending posts. So the more he does that, the more eventually we can jump on StockTwits and totally integrate with them. So appreciate Neo, appreciate Funk and everybody putting in the work for StockTwits. If you guys don't already use it, now you have a reason to check it out and sign up. Turtle, are you a StockTwits aficionado? Were you already on there?
From the GME AMC days a little bit, but not something I have a lot of time for recently. As you can imagine, my days of degenning and trading have been left behind for now.
Oh, very, very wise ways, very wise words from the turtle on that one. Archangel, are you a StockTwits follower user? Is that something that you pay attention to more closely?
Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat as Turtle on that. I used to be fairly active over on StockTwits probably under my real name, but yeah, not as Archangel.
So when we had the conversation with them, one of the funny things I asked them was about their account following, because they had such an enormous amount of followers, like little over 1 million or whatever followers they had. And he straight up admitted, and this made me laugh because most brands would never say this. He goes, yeah, but most of those people probably don't pay attention anymore, because a lot of them signed up, back 2017 during the IDO days or for GME and stuff like that. Because I think a lot of people did surge onto StockTwits because of GME and AMC for the very first time. I mean, that had to have been one of the most massive opportunities that people had to get into stocks at a retail level. So I can imagine that was a very hectic time for StockTwits. So now they have a much more relaxed approach to things. So we can work together as a team and try and get trending with them and get a good relationship going with them, because it's actually easier to get in touch than you would think sometimes when you just repeatedly show up somewhere and just send a nice message. So we'll work on it. LTD token that finally went through, man. I had trouble getting that accept to go through. Can you hear me? How are you?
Very good, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. Good to hear your voice again. Glad you made it home safe.
Yeah, I just had to drive down the road from Toronto downtown, but home safe and somewhat recovered from the madness of ETH Toronto.
So when everybody first got here, one of the questions I asked when we were checking microphones was when you got your badge and you walked into the venue for the very first time, and I know it was a little different for you doing some of the setup and stuff like that, so it wasn't fully fleshed out, but what were your impressions when you saw all the lights and everything running for the first time when you walked in?
You know what? It was a very humbling yet exciting experience. I've seen this event grow year over year. This is now my third year and second year as part of SHIB or the SHIB community. And it's so cool to see, from 3 years ago when there was literally no presence. Then last year, we had a solid booth, various components. But then this year, it was almost like SHIB taking over all the communities, K9, Bad Idea, Sharbie, ourselves. It was just incredible.
And LTD, for those of you that went through some of the pictures and stuff, on day one, LTD had by far the longest line of any of the booths in the place, except for perhaps when they did the book signing, but that shouldn't count because everybody's just lining up for that book. The plushies that they had at LTD absolutely smashed, and that was the lesson learned between K9 and LTD, is that dogs and plushies, I mean, you can focus on the utility all you want at these conferences, which is fine. You want people to come up and talk about fully homomorphic encryption at your table. It's going to be a very dry event. But when you've got plushies in a photo booth, or you've got dogs for people to take pictures with, man, they don't care. I mean, these events are not technical in their nature, where you've got people walking through. And there is a hackathon, and there were people. I'm not saying there weren't people that were not asking technical questions, but so much of what LTD's success was at the booth in terms of traffic, in my opinion, and you tell me what you think too, was those plushies, the physical aspect of like being able to throw people on that couch, take those pictures, right? That was a huge hit.
Yeah, we definitely had a lot of interest. People loved, taking a photo surrounded by 300 plushies. Our only regret was we actually bought too little plushies. Like we brought in almost 2,000, and they went away pretty much first day. And from my perspective, it was just such an incredible, seeing each community work together. And K9, what you guys did with the dogs and having that, it was just a shocker, and people really gravitated to that. And I think the audience here listening today should be extremely proud of Funk and Turtle and Shima, Buzz, all of the crew, obviously Shane, all of you guys doing such an incredible job representing. And I'm very bullish on what's going to happen in terms of our collective futures, number one, and number two is just what is going to look like next year. Like, what is ShibaCon going to look like? What is ETH Toronto going to look like? What is the Miami party going to look like? And I think if we continue to collaborate together and really there was also smaller projects like Hochi and Andrew Ladd's project that was represented there. So sorry to take up so much time, but I'm just so incredibly proud, and the friendships that, my only regret was I couldn't go out partying with everyone, because I pretty much, after 5 o'clock, I would go into the U-Haul and sleep. But it was such a wonderful experience meeting everybody.
Yeah, bro, I'm not built like that either. You and me and Lightspeed, all three were like, hey, let's have fun, everybody. Let's go to the after party. I'm going back to the hotel. I won't be there. And then everybody at the party has to do the like, hey, have you guys seen Lightspeed? Or where's Shiba cows? Have you seen them? And we're back there like snoring it off, bro. I was wasted, and I don't mean I was drunk. It was hard work standing at those booths. I'm not trying to cry about it, you guys, but I understand what he means. It's the conversations, the in-person interactions. You guys know what it's like to have to get out and meet people face to face. So no shame on you for checking out, man. Know thyself, right? Because if I had stayed up the first night and tried to do some of the stuff after the boat was enough. I was done after getting off that boat, because you get off the boat and you have a choice. Like you're making a serious decision after that to just continue the night and just sign away your morning and just know that it's going to be a grind, or to just go now and just wake up to whatever stories. So I woke up to some crazy messages from the morning that I missed that, and I regret nothing. I had a great night, but it was a decision that all of us had to make, and I hope everybody made it back safely after the boat ride. And you didn't take up too much time. You guys played such a large role at LTD as a primary sponsor for the event and stuff like that. The setup that you had to put into it, the money that you guys had to sink into this is no joke. It takes a lot to put on a production like this. So what I've always been concerned about, and I'll say it right here on the Spaces because I'm not afraid of saying stuff like this, what I've always been concerned about is conveying to the community that events like this are not just some posh, event where team members go and screw off, that there's a lot of work that actually happens, that these connections that are happening right there are realistic and measurable, but they take time often. People go home and it takes a week. I got a stack of cards to go through, and like Funk was saying, man, I got messages, that I'm still missing. They asked for my LinkedIn. I wasn't prepared, you guys. I have messages on LinkedIn I have to reply to. So there's a lot to take in, and I think it takes a lot for each of us that were there to sort this out. So Tony, when you go and open your messages right now, I bet it's a nightmare, isn't it?
It is a little bit, but it's just so reassuring. Like, we're launching a token, and when you have a presence, when K9 has a presence, Bad Idea has a presence, we have a presence, and we're all connected so closely in terms of our friendships, people start noticing. VCs are coming up and saying, hey, what is this? What are you guys doing? Why are you giving away plushies? And a little thing that people don't understand is that our plushies is part of a larger play where we're doing with NFC chips, but I'll bore you guys with that next time. But to your point, it's about showing the credibility and the fact that we're real, we're here, Shiba is here, and LTD is here, K9 is here, and we are live entities. We are individuals who are investing in terms of getting exposure and just seeing some of the big hitters. We had the Hong Kong Minister of Finance contact us and said, what the hell is happening with Shiba? Why is there a boat? What are you guys doing? And we have a meeting on Tuesday to discuss things about our entire community, not just Shiba or not just LTD, right? So when you make a presence and when you kind of show that you are investing in terms of getting exposure for your ecosystem, people start to notice. So I think there's going to be some, I can't give away too much alpha. Buzz always yells at me, and so does Turtle. That I can never keep any alpha, but there is some big things on the horizon. I guess one alpha that we could probably share is LTD is going to be staking K9, and this is the first time anyone's heard of it other than Buzz, Turtle, and myself. I thought I'll drop some alpha because we're going to announce it. But just like Sharbie, you can when you stake Sharbie or you stake LTD, you can earn K9 tokens. So I'll throw some alpha because I've been speaking so long, and I don't think we should I need to pay back the community with some alpha.
Massive news. We're gonna have to get the clip out for everybody on that one so they can hear that, and we'll get that into the chat for everybody. That'll be great. Staking for K9. More ways to get more people holding, more ways to grow wallets across Shibarium. That's great news. Funk, go ahead.
Hey, I just have another second to talk here, so I figured I'd jump in. What he said about people being real, I think was huge for Shiba Inu, because obviously there's a theoretical online community for almost every project, and no one really knows how passionate people are, how many people are actually behind the community, how many people are working, how botted the Telegram is. It is very clear from the Shiba Inu presence, both with LTD, with Bad Idea, with K9, with Shiba Inu itself. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone. I'm just kind of running through names as they come up in my head, but it's huge, man. There are a lot of people who've dedicated almost their entire careers, or part of it at least, or side jobs or whatever it is, or as moderators or as holders that came out to this event. And that many real people bodes really, really well for long-term value, because if all those people are actively working to push something forward, think about how much more powerful that is than just a few. So that's kind of my point there.
Nothing stronger than human capital. Time is the resource you can't get back. 100% agree with you on that, dude. Great point. Crypto Queen snuck up here. It's not like I didn't see you come in. How are you?
I'm great. How is everybody today?
Doing well. I think everybody said they were a little bit recovering and stuff like that still, but I'm feeling all right. We asked earlier when everybody came in what their first impression was when you got your badge and walked in for the first time. What was your first thought seeing these setup?
Wow, it was really cool. You know, I went last year and it was not as well attended as this year. There were so many more people there this year, and there were, very few community members there last year. And this year it was just a huge outpouring of the community, and I was so happy to see that. The booths were just immaculate. You guys did such an amazing job with the setups and just all the displays, and everybody working the booth. Everybody did an amazing job. I was just really proud.
And there was a lot of work going on. You were walking around helping a lot of different groups out. You were also on stage too. What did you think with your on stage experiences?
Yeah, that was really fun. I was nervous to get started, but once I started speaking, it kind of melted away, and I was just really happy to be able to have that opportunity to speak with the women, ETH women, and all the audience that was there. It was really cool, and I hope I did a good job representing SHIB women.
Can you give us a little recap? What was the subject and what was some of the things you covered?
It was stories of impact in Web3 and just how we got our start. What are some challenges women face onboarding into Web3 and throughout their careers? And then, what special talents or, character traits that we have that make us suited for the roles that we have, and just how to onboard more women. So it was just a really cool conversation with about 4 speakers up there, and the audience was full, and so that was really cool. It was during the women's breakfast. So yeah, it was just a fun opportunity. I'm glad I was able to take part in that.
I saw some of the pictures. I didn't get to make it to the presentation, but the pictures look great. And the cool thing about something like that is because it's such a small a bucket of women that are in this industry, you getting to do that is going to lead to such other great opportunities. And this is why I don't sound like I'm trying to kiss ass here. This is why it's so important to have people like her in the space, because when you can lift someone like her up, she's going to be up there representing across Shibarium and not just whatever profile picture she's using on any given day. It's so important to get these people in these speaking opportunities. Lightspeed was on stage and he was so good and he was so gracious with the other AI people. And then Funk did his presentation on meme coins up in the upstairs lounge and stuff. And if you guys didn't see that, he's so handsome. Look for the pictures. He's not sharing them. But once the video comes out, he did a great job up there. He looked great. And then the presentation from Queen, getting these people out like this, or the ridiculous stuff that I was doing with my mask, which it's all about branding. It's just about creating, an allure or getting the brand out there. So I'm proud of everybody for one of my favorite things is people breaking out of their comfort zone. I'm like a human performance specialist. I do fitness outside of the crypto stuff. I love seeing people get better at stuff. It's one of my favorite things because the human animal is capable of so much more than you can ever almost push yourself to do. So I'd almost throw her on stage because I knew she'd get better at it, or I'd almost make Funk in a room with more people than he wanted, or I'd throw Frank in front of, how many interviews did Frank do, for crap's sakes? By the way, Frank did so many interviews, you guys, and that's not something he's built for. And I love that. Frank, can you talk about, because I'm talking about this and I know you're there, what was that like? Because I know the first time they walked up was very different than the last time, right?
Right. I ran from a couple, and I got Russ to do one with the SHIB main account. And, if you're passionate about something, you can speak to it. So I didn't have a real issue, but like I say, a little uncomfortable at first, but like I say, it's if you believe in what you're doing, it's not difficult.
I was very proud of you, and I can't wait to see some of the footage from that, because again, just seeing people that have to get growth, no growth occurs in your comfort zone. It's a phrase I use all the time. So going to events like this and getting real life FUD to the face, like when someone comes up to the desk and you can't just tag an admin, that's real, bro. You better learn to pivot. Radar made it up in here finally. Radar, thank you for pulling up, man. What's going on with you?
Hey folks, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, brother.
Hey, cool. I just wanted to take a minute just to kind of share my experience as a blind person in a giant building full of people. Yeah, I only managed to trip 3 people with suits, so I mean that's a win. That was my thing, being the only blind person at the event. But it was cool. I really appreciate it. I had a lot of people helping me out. It was so fun. Matching voices to Telegram names. I obviously can't match faces very well, but voices I'm very good at recognizing, so that was excellent. And I just had a lot of fun. I repped K9 and Sharbie and Living the Dream as much as humanly possible, but it was a blast. I'm looking forward to the next one already.
Now, one of the things you told me that made me laugh the most, and I think you felt the same way, was someone came up to you and said that they couldn't believe you were actually blind. Didn't that happen?
Yeah, that did happen, yeah.
That was unbelievable that someone would come up and say that, dude. Someone actually thought that he was pretending to be blind on Telegram this whole time, you guys. They thought he was pretending it the entire time. So they came up and they were like, wow, I can't believe you're actually using the stick or whatever. And the way that he explained it to me, like he was exasperated that someone would think that he would have gone to that link. So yes, it turns out it's not a shtick that he is pulling off, you guys. And it had to have been crazy. There were so many people there for you to have to navigate around, man. I'm so glad that you chose to go and make that trip up there, and I got to meet you and everything.
Sorry, did I cut off there?
A little bit. It sounded like you were getting a phone call at some point.
Oh yeah, I just out of nowhere. But yeah, sorry about that. I didn't realize I was unmuted. But yeah, I did have someone approach me and didn't actually think. They thought that it was just all a ruse. They're like, well, that should be the other way around. If I should pretend I'm sighted on Telegram and then just show up blind in real life and shock the world. Yeah,
it's crazy.
I'd be the greatest liar in the world if I faked being blind with a cane and all the surgeries I've had. So that'd be pretty funny. But.
Yeah, man, I'm not quite sure what the benefit would have been to have been faking while we were there, but it's funny that they went there, man. Just got to keep the character up, I suppose. Anything to keep an online persona real. People have done weirder things, I suppose. So it was good, and we did everything we could to make sure that everybody had a good time. So I'm glad to hear that you also had a good time. They did have good music and stuff like that, so there was a good auditory experience. I feel like the audio setup was good too. So I'm glad you pulled up. I'm glad everybody pulled up because I got a chance to meet people from all over the community. There's so many people that are not in here because they're not K9 community members from other groups and stuff that also got to pull up. Sharbie was very supportive. They had a huge crew of people. So we want to definitely say thank you to them because they came over to the K9 booth and they were doing stuff back and forth with everybody. I did my part at Bad Idea. I was kind of in a way where I had line of sight with the booth, and I used a lot of reference points about how when people would ask, what is Bad Idea doing partnered with Shiba Inu? What does it mean to be a partnership? And I came in as another way to explain it. It's like, well, listen, SHIB didn't want to develop their own LSD, and they didn't want to have somebody else with them was going to charge them. So K9 represents that internal partner that they've always got, and that's what Bad Idea does for the guys. My constant pitch was to say, hey, there are only 2 real partners that they've got that are doing things that they can just internally say, hey, have to outsource this if not for having these projects lockstep developing with us, where we can give them the feedback, give them the criticism, have them develop these software products for our entire community and beyond. Because what K9's the Bad Idea are both doing are not just exclusively for Shibarium, but they are primarily for Shibarium, and that's the benefit, and that's why the partnership exists. So I hope that there were a lot of people crossing over, and I know because I could hear the Sharbie booth because they were right behind me. They were doing a great job of sending people around. Shiba Cows got a lot of attention because we had the printed toys on our table, so I sent a ton of people that were over there looking for toys. They would come over and they would want to take the toys off my desk, and I'd be like, no, no, you can't have those. You got to go take them from those guys over there. They're the ones that make them. They'll have more than me. So it was great being able to reference everybody around instead of being like, oh, they're not here. It was cool because everybody has their own little niche they were in. So from my perspective, I love the ecosystem referenceability, being able to just point everybody around and say, oh, if you want to learn about that, go over there. And I could, instead of having to pitch for them, I'd be like, yep, you got to go get in a different line if you want to learn about how that works. Liquid staking, aisle 3, over there by the green beans. It's over on that side. Oh, the plushies are around the corner. You got to go check it out over there. And Corrupt Fund, they're the stickers on all the tables. You got to find them. They're in all the most inappropriate places. I saw Corrupt Fund everywhere. Didn't I, Kitten? There were stickers everywhere, right?
Yep, I made sure to get them in as many places as I could.
Well, they were unavoidable at a certain point. After day 1, I started walking around and seeing them everywhere. I knew somebody was around spreading them. I didn't know it was you until day 2. I think you did a great job.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And it was really awesome getting to meet you.
Thanks. It was really cool too. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the video that comes out, all that. And it was nice meeting a member of Corrupt Fund. Corrupt Fund, when I first got to meet the community there was when we did the Bad Idea AI tournament, the March tournament, is I got my first interactions with you guys over there. So another example of an ecosystem project that might not have been there. And this is a great lesson, by the way, who might not have been there with all the money to show up like LTD with the plushies, or had the booth like Bad Idea, or the dogs like K9, showed up with a backpack and a dream, baby. That's how you do it. You show up with whatever it takes to get it done, and you come in there and you pass these stickers around, because that's the hacker's mentality, is that you find a free ticket and a way to get in where you can spread your message and be unobtrusive without coming up to booths, by the way, and pitching to people at their own booths, which is a real thing. It's a real thing that people do, and it's like real life in-person proposals. And again, there's no admin to sweep them away. So that was a real thing. So Kitten, if anybody from Corrupt Fund is listening, she really did. She put the work in, because by the time day 2 was done, those stickers, they're going to be using razor blades for 2 weeks across Toronto, peeling Corrupt Fund stickers off, saying whatever it is in French that sounds like son of a bitch, because they're going to be upset. You probably get a lawsuit. It'll be great. But I digress. Shima is here. Hard pivot to a more technical conversation. Shima's been kind of waiting. I wasn't ignoring him, but he was away from the mic. But I want to pivot to Shima and see how you're doing, bud. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well, thanks. I wasn't here for the mic check, so hopefully I sound all right.
Yeah, man, sounds good. Sounds good. From your perspective, how were things? Because we have not gotten a full update on the hackathon yet. I know Buzz is having connection problems and stuff, but there were some very fun technical things happening well at this event, right?
Yeah, it was actually super exciting. So I spent most of the event going around, I'm on that shyer side, afraid to introduce myself too much, but trying to look for everyone with a hacker badge and just ask, what's going on? What are you building? Like, how are you doing? And I was thrilled to see, from talking to hackers and talking with the Dora Hacks team for a while. So Dora Hacks is the platform that's kind of helping facilitate the whole hackathon. We are getting a ton of attention, and I think it was a great idea, good work, Turtle, that we just have that small dog-themed prize. So even a bunch of people, they didn't necessarily know if they wanted to apply for any of the main K9 bounties. Having that kind of extra bonus, just add a dog theme to whatever you're building, drew their attention, and then they started paying more attention to K9 as a possible real bounty. So I think that was an amazing idea that we have that dog theme one. From the Dora Hacks people, it sounds like that's actually what's the most exciting out of all the bounties in the entire program. So that's really cool. So I just can't wait. Submissions come in. Final submissions are due next Wednesday, so only a few more days for the hacking to happen, and then we get to really see what's going on. But from talking to people and really talking to the Dora Hacks people, I think we're going to see some cool stuff rolling in.
Well, if he's excited, I'm excited, because I'm not going to be the one that's going to be able to comb through this at a technical level, but I will be the one to throw the ticker tape grade for whoever it is that wins all that money. I'm excited for that part, because that's the part where the community gets to come together and figure out what these guys have developed product-wise. And so what I'm going to expect from all of you guys, not that it's my job to put you to task, whoever ends up winning this thing, we're going to be clapping very loud, and we're going to be making a lot of social media posts, because we want developers to feel like they are being appreciated for coming over here. So the prize is great, but social recognition is also great as well. And some developers don't like that. We've talked to Turtle about his clandestine team of hitters in the shadows that we're never going to meet or whatever. But there are going to be some people who really like that public pat on the back. So when this whole thing wraps up, I hope we're all ready to cheer and put these people up on a pedestal and say, look, developers, everybody, we found them. We got them. And we're also going to do this with Shima and everybody that's been managing the hackathon, because this is not easy work to do this and help these people grow. But growing from the inside is definitely the way to do this. I saw what I learned about the hackathon was everybody that came up to my booth with their lanyard intentionally turned around was from the hackathon, because they didn't want me to see their name. And I didn't take it personally. I just I just came to realize it's like, okay, so they just don't want me to see their name. That's very hackathon of you. They just didn't want to show them off. But they came up and asked the most technical questions, by the way, because I was at the bad idea booth. And you want to talk about underprepared? Like, I know my AI pretty well, but I'm not Lightspeed, so I didn't build the bot. And these guys would come up and be like, so, and they'd lean on the table, and I'd be like, shit. What do they want? What are they going to ask? They'd be like, so tell me about how you built GPT. And I'm like, I can't tell you any of that. Like, right out of the gate, I don't know that stuff. So I was glad the hackathon was there because it did add a very technical layer to what was basically a retail group. And I'd ask you, Shima, when I was there, I met at least 3 people that told me they had not bought crypto before. So what would you think if I told you there were people in that building that didn't even own crypto while you were in there running like this deep hackathon situation?
I was actually shocked at the number of people who, a friend had brought them. And I think that's one of the coolest things about these experiences is it's really helping onboard the people who might have been a little skeptical about what crypto is. So when those, people who are in tech but have always, crypto's a scam, FTX, you're going to lose all your money, all these meme coins go to zero. Getting to actually talk and have these real technical conversations, like you said earlier, so many people wanted LinkedIn. I'm like, I haven't updated my LinkedIn in 3 years, but sure, we can connect. Why not? I think it's a really good way to help restore the trust in crypto because I truly believe crypto is, going to be the future of finance. It's if you believe in equity and equality, like crypto is the most fair way to do things. Yes, there's the opportunity for a lot of scams, but the legitimate stuff that's being built in the space, I think, is very important for the future of humanity. And I think we're helping onboard and bring trust to a lot of the people who might have been a little skeptical. So yeah, I was kind of shocked at how many non-crypto people ended up just coming along to the conference with a friend. And from all the conversations I had, I think we made a really positive impression on them. So that's awesome.
I had more than one opportunity at the table, and fortunately we were not super busy when this happened, where one of those people came up and asked a question, and they are totally ignorant to what's going on. And I was able to answer a question that had nothing to do with Bad Idea, nothing to do with ERC20 or SHIB or Shibarium. Like I talked for one point, I talked for like 10 minutes about like why tokenization of assets is a trend in GameFi. And it's like, that's not what I do here at all, but let me talk about it anyway, because it's an interesting thing to get into. And somebody they had no idea coming from like, Web2 gaming and why you would want to carry your assets, when you get rid of a game or, liquidate your assets if you've been playing a game for a long time. And it didn't have anything to do with Bad Idea. But what I did is I'm building the brand by showing them I'm not a dumbass behind the booth, which is also important. I think that factors into a certain extent that even if you can talk about the thing you're supposed to talk about, it's also nice to be slightly well-rounded in other places. So having people that walked in there, I cannot imagine. I had one person that did not know much about Shiba Inu, and that would have been the most confusing thing. Like, to not know about crypto, you'd walk in there and be like, so this is a cult. These are crazy people. But to not know about Shiba, because 75% of what was going on in there had Shiba Inu themes, or it had logos, and it was something that was coming up in these conversations. Shima, can you imagine thinking that this is like a financial conference and it's all dogs when you come in there?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be a little confusing, and I think maybe people walk in and judge it a little bit at first, but the thing is, Shiba Inu has evolved a lot over the past 4 years. I think it launched in 2020, right? Yeah, I think so. But like, it went from, a meme coin, but it has spun off into so much more. It's now a very legitimate project. I loved the SHIB announcement, but I almost think it was too much to take in. Like, they could have broken that down into separate announcements. There's so much going on. This project has gone from a joke, but they didn't let it end there. They took all of that success and have turned it into something that, like I said, crypto is going to change the world. And this whole like onboarding 1 billion people from India, that is what crypto needs. We just need to be onboarding more people, establishing that trust, helping people learn how to tell the difference between the scams and what is actually gonna, add financial freedom to their future. And even though it seemed like half a SHIB themed conference, I think everything that was going on brought a lot of legitimacy to the space. So I was super happy to see that. It's a crazy evolution. I don't know what WIF is doing or any of these other meme tokens, but I really don't think they're going to turn into, a real valuable project that's going to make the world a better place. So yeah, I just see so much upside potential for this ecosystem, and I'm so excited to be working in the Shibarium space right now.
54 minutes, and what I'm going to quote from this one is K9 developer for Shiba Inu thinks WIF is, quote, worthless, comma, going to zero, end quote.
See, I don't think it's going to zero. I think it's being propped up by some sketchy things. But yeah, no. What are they doing?
This is the gotcha form of journalism that I'm forced to practice to survive on X, and I don't want you to take it personally. But when you see your profile picture with like "whisk to zero?" question mark in my face doing that YouTube thumbnail where my mouth is too far open, I'm like, oh! I'm gonna be like, I can't believe the K9 developer hates WIF so much. WIF versus K9, biggest beef in crypto? Question mark.
Honestly, let's start the beef. I'm willing to back up.
That's big energy. Shima's got the kind of energy we need. That's big K9 energy, bro. Crypto Queen, what do you think? WIF to zero? Is that what we're talking about now? I'll change the title.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to zero, but definitely Shiba's going up. That's for sure. We have so much more, definitely. I wanted to say a couple things that I noticed. The marketing behind this was just amazing this year, from the dogs to the plushies. I mean, the plushie line was around the whole building at one point. It was crazy, and the dogs were just such a draw. But I think more than anything, the way K9 treated their whales was so impressive. You don't see that very often, and you made me want to FOMO into whale status immediately when I got back, because it was just so cool to be able to have community members come in, just hang out at the cabana, not have to work if they didn't want to, and just do what what made them happy. And so that was cool. And as well as getting the community involved, just kind of made my heart happy to see everybody from Kitten, Unreal Cow, Blind Trader was killing it over there at the K9 booth. It was just such a great, I guess, community effort, and to see just regular people in there doing the work and having fun. So thank you all for everybody who organized this great event, and letting us be part of that. It's really fun.
Shout out to Unreal Cow, who I did not get to meet up with, and I'm saying that as Pulse. I did not realize that we missed each other and until it was too late. So we'll have to do that next time. But I hate that I didn't get a chance to link up with somebody like that. That's a real one, and we'll get it done next time. You guys, we had to shorten Buzz's corner because Buzz is at the airport. So I'd like to present, if I could, for a very short amount of time, Buzz's corner of the airport terminal. Buzz, can you hear me? That's what it's like, you guys. See, this is what it's like traveling as Buzz at the airport. I can't imagine why he's at the airport. It's super mysterious. Anyway, his connection's kind of busted, so I guess we'll never find out. That'll be something for you guys to have to dive into anyway. No, seriously, he's been trying to get in and out. He's restarted his phone and everything. It's probably just not going to work, Buzz. He might not even be able to hear me, for all I know. So I appreciate him trying to get in. He did a bit of a VC yesterday, so some of you probably got a chance to chat with him then. And then perhaps, Frank, are you doing a VC tonight?
Doing one tonight. I was going to say maybe we could get Buzz's corner tonight.
My thought is I don't know what his travel schedule looks like, and I don't want to put him up for something if he's tired from traveling and stuff like that. But perhaps we push to another point and we can get him in there. Maybe that'll be an easier way to get him into the space. Do it that way.
Yeah, he and I'll talk.
All right. I got one request here. Someone requested before I was getting ready to wrap things up. We'll see what we're doing here.
But I do have one question, Shane. I want to know if any of us met Turtle, and he's probably the only one that can answer that.
No, bro, I didn't get a chance to, as far as I know.
I'm assuming we may have met him and not known.
I may or may not have. All I can say is that the conference was incredible, and seeing everyone on stage and speaking and working together and at the cabana and enjoying bottles and after parties and receiving the bottle from Buzz and everything. It was a very memorable experience. And kind of like Shima said earlier, sometimes you wonder like how real these things are, or like Funk was saying, go to a conference like this and you'll have no doubt. It feels like a big family, and it feels like the future.
My sense is, and this is just my perspective since I'm hosting and I get to talk about it. I have a feeling that I met him and I met a lot more people that I'm going to know about for a few reasons. He could have caught me at any given time when I was wrapped up in my shtick. And I'm wearing that helmet. Half the time I was wearing that helmet, you guys saw me in, and it didn't really make it impossible for me to see, but it's not like I knew what I was looking for anyway. And when I'm rolling like that, like as a showman, you guys know I do spaces for a living. When I'm at that table, man, I'm shucking and jiving, bro. I'm Muhammad Ali. I'm like a butterfly and a bee at the same time. So if someone came up like that and I didn't know what was going on, he could have come in and gotten a full pitch from me, and I might have done an awesome job, or I might have completely fucked it up. And I'll never know that it was him. But that's why it's always important for me to put on every single time, like every single person I'm talking to has got $1 billion in their pocket and they want my business, because that's the important part. Is I don't know which one was Turtle, I don't know which one was Shitoshi, but he sure as shit followed me after the conference. Drop that mic. I don't know who's at these shows, so I treat everyone like I would treat Shitoshi or Ryoshi or any of you in the audience. I treated Kitten the same way I would treat Shitoshi, didn't I, Kitten?
Absolutely. Shane was awesome.
Because that's what it takes. And I'm not even the SHIB advocate from 2021. I'm just telling you, golden rule matters. I'm sure I met Turtle, and I'm not mad that he didn't say, hello, I am DeFi Turtle from the internet. That's totally fine. If he wants to keep his secrecy, that's great. But if he got a taste of who I really am outside of spaces at this event, then that's great, because that's what it's about. So I'm really not upset. I think I got a chance to meet people that I'll never know. I met Marcy from the SHIB team, and I didn't know she knew me already. That was a cool opportunity. So these events, you do not know who's behind that mask. Dude, I've got people on X that are freaking out about that guy behind the mask in the bad idea thing, and they're circling. Did you see the guy circling pictures of our hands because I stippled my fingers like Shitoshi quite intentionally? Conspiracies. Frank, I saw you had your hand up. Go ahead.
I didn't mean to raise my hand, but I really enjoyed messing with Turtle on DMs the whole time that we were there.
Yeah, Frank was getting messages back and forth from people too. I was seeing some funny stuff going around. It was a great time getting a chance to meet with everybody. And I know that even though I believe Buzz wasn't really there, I'm sure there were some people that snuck in. I got to meet Zach Humphreys and some people who didn't pull up to the spaces today. Russ was there from In Russ We Trust. He got a chance to, like Frank said, he even did an interview with the booth for us. So that's really big. People pulled up, people did work, and we could go on and talk about it. But somebody already said, I think Queen said, or it was Shima that said, there's so much in that Shibarium video, or the Shitoshi video, that it could have been a series of announcements. So we can continue this conversation, perhaps the next spaces. We could break it down into individual tidbits, because at this point we're going to need to. But the most important thing that came away from this, and I can't believe nobody brought it up until 1 minute into the show at the 1 hour mark, the LSD is launching September 18th. Let's go. We got a date, everybody. So that's what we've got between now and then. And this is where I'll get off my soapbox and we'll wrap the show up. You have got between now and then to make sure that we've got something ready to hype after the 18th, because we know that date is coming. So what are we moving on to now? We've been looking forward to Q3 for so long. You guys better be ready to pivot and figure out what the next big thing coming from K9 is and how we're going to present ourselves online. Because when this thing comes out on September 18th, there's such a shift in what we're going to be doing and how we're going to be talking about this. And this would be a great conversation to have with Funk, because he's going to be doing a lot of this himself with the way the marketing language changes, because it goes from when to why and now and get in. And it's going to be a big deal for all of us. And shout out to all the people that have been doing the test network. I've seen some people in the whale chat really taking the time to explain how all of this works. And I think that's going to be a grind for people. And I know that. So I appreciate everybody that's been working really hard to develop those documents and the how-tos and the walkthrough videos that we're going to have, because it's coming. We got the date for September 18th. So that's the last big news that I want to cover. And I'm going to go around and we'll touch everybody with the microphone that's working. But I want to start with the manager, because he came up with a speaker spot. And I haven't said hello yet, man. How are you?
Good evening, guys.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying hearing you guys and what you discovered and experienced in Toronto. I wish I were there, man.
Yep, it's one of those things that hopefully you see something like this and you find an event maybe local to you to start with. That's always the easier thing to do. Maybe a big trip is a little intimidating, but even local events, there are pop-up events all the time that people go to in small get-togethers, that even those things can be really, really fun. And they give you a sense of why you might want to go to another one. So I always encourage people, if you can get a chance to hit a local event, try it.
If you have Jaeger bombs in Toronto, I'm all in.
Yo, I think they do, bro. I found out they got a hell of a culture. I can't drink. I can't drink to save my own life, bro. So I saw everybody around me putting down stuff, and at one point there was just a shot of tequila with my name on it, and that was the end of the night for me. That ain't me.
There's so much cool stuff going on Shibarium projects and you guys and the network you have. So it's very, very interesting to follow this, and we'll make sure that also my community gets an update from you guys on this, what's happening next.
Thank you, man. If there's anything we can do for them, or if you want to do something together, let us know. We'll get together. We can pass the news along or bring them together somehow, maybe here or the Telegram, right?
We can do it on Spaces or Telegram, no problem there. And if you do have some interesting, big breaking news, forward them and I'll push it out.
100%, man. Teamwork, that's what it takes, guys. Teamwork makes the dream work, and it's not just a cliche. Learned at this event for sure. I'm going to go around in the order that I see. We're going to shut it down. Frank, you're down on the bottom row for some reason. Before we go, what are your final thoughts?
We just got a lot to look forward to, and what a great team and community we have.
Very, very, very true. I'm so excited that I got to meet you, man. I appreciate all the hard work you did. Look forward to the interviews. I'm so excited to see how those come out, man. Kitten, what are your final thoughts before we go?
I just want to say I'm really stoked I got to meet you and Queen, and ETH Toronto was absolutely amazing. And also, I haven't heard anybody mention today is Shibarium's first birthday. They came out August 16th last year, and today is their birthday. So happy birthday, Shibarium.
Oh, I can't believe I missed the opportunity to do a birthday Spaces. That's bad. You should have called me out on that. You should have sent me a DM. How did I swing and miss on that, you guys? Who brought the cake? Is C-Fun doing the cake? Do you guys have cake today? Man, guys, we got to find the cake. I'm going to go make a post and ask who's got the birthday cake from the K9 account, because I haven't seen anybody else do it yet. Shima, did you know it was the birthday of the network, or is that news to you too?
No, I forgot about that.
Damn, dude, I didn't get flowers. We didn't get flowers or anything.
I'm gonna have to, I don't know, deploy a tribute contract or something. That is pretty cool.
That would be, hey, you know what's funny? That makes me laugh. It'd be funny if you deployed an on-chain birthday cake, said like from K9 to Shibarium, happy birthday, and we didn't tell anybody other than this Spaces. I don't know what that would take, but if you could just whip up some dumb shit and post it and then post the transaction, that's the kind of silly on-chain messaging that I really enjoy. When hackers take your money and talk shit in the comment section, that's an extra sweet chef's kiss.
Yeah, well, not financial advice, but watch out for a cake token dropping today.
See, this guy is earning points in my book big time today. Send it my way, Shima. We'll get together later. I appreciate you coming in, by the way, Shima, because I know you don't get to come into every Spaces. I enjoy every time you pull up, man. Anytime you're welcome, please come through.
Oh, thanks so much. No, happy to be here, and I'll pop by again soon.
Radar, I appreciate you pulling up too, man, and I really did enjoy having you at the event. What are your final thoughts before we close out today?
Oh man, well, I'm just thanks for having me up, and I'm just super appreciative of the K9 team, the K9 family. It's one hell of a community, and it was fun. You make friends online, but they're not really friends until you meet them in person. So it was really, really an honor for me to meet a lot of you guys in person, and just solidify that friendship even more, because now I can we it just made memories. So that was awesome. I'm looking forward to many more. May the success of K9 and our Shibarium communities just keep growing. Wag me, baby.
Thank you, brother. Turtle, what do you think before we go?
I think everyone should take a chance to use testnet. It's available, kind of dropped in the middle of all the chaos. So if you have free time and you haven't taken a chance, like Shane said, whales have been super helpful, or I'll be around over the weekend, so don't hesitate to reach out to me. I can help you through the testnet. And other than that, just keep an eye out for an announcement in between now and product launch, like Funk alluded to. There'll also be a date and some information related to the LTD staking that Sentinel released, and a lot more alpha I probably am not allowed to talk about, so I'll stop there. But I am looking forward very much to a Futurist or an ETH Toronto in Miami next year. So it sounds like they'll be doing a Toronto and Miami conference, and Miami will be in November. So we'll see what that looks like. But if it could be anything like this one, I think everyone would really enjoy it.
That doesn't sound terrible at all. Crypto Queen, final thoughts before we go?
Just want to say I missed you guys already. It was so fun to meet everybody. I love the people who felt comfortable enough to dox themselves and to be able to look at them in the eye and kind of put a name or a face with the name. And if you ever have a chance to come out to one of these conferences, please don't hesitate to do that. It's so important for the community to support everything that the projects are doing, and it just gives you a whole new level of confidence to be able to meet these folks in person. So definitely, it was a great event, and I loved every minute of it. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you and everything you do for the ecosystem. And again, congratulations on the on-stage appearance. It was a absolute smash for everybody. Archangel, you're last in line. You got the first approval, which gave you the last speaker spot in line. So final thoughts before we go?
There we go. So yeah, it was great to see everybody put faces to names, like Crypto Queen said, talk to Radar. And yeah, great time. And one of the things I absolutely loved about the conference is all the people that I was able to talk to about Shibarium overall, and then watch their eyes kind of come to the realization of all of these projects here are pushing on Shibarium, and how big the community and the ecosystem is growing and how fast it's growing. And just K9 being at the foundational level of that is just amazing.
I agree. And that's what I meant when you walk in and 75% of this arena is all got the same logo somewhere, either prominently or slightly hidden away in some way. You look around and you're like, well, wait a minute. I mean, this how many tentacles are on this octopus here? Like, this seems to all be the same thing. And brand recognition, I mentioned earlier, the 7 rules for brand recognition. You have to see something so many times before you really come to make that purchasing decision. Very rare is the true impulse buy. So it takes a lot of brand recognition, and it's events like this and logos in places and stickers on light polls, all the guerrilla shit that it takes to get these things in front of people's faces. So thanks to everybody who took the time and put in the money and put in the effort from their entire life to get to ETH Toronto, because that's time you don't get back, and it's time you spent doing things for a community. And I'll say this out loud, even though most people wouldn't, that sometimes features some unappreciative information and members that don't always understand the grind. So I know that there were some FUD in some chats because everybody expects ETH Toronto to send their token to a $25 million market cap overnight or whatever. But shout out to those that understand the long grind of what it is to do these expos and do the work, because you guys put it in and you got it done. So very appreciative of all of that. And shout out to those cute, adorable dogs at the K9 booth. I hope we can keep doing stuff like that. That was so impactful. So I want to say on behalf of myself, Pulse Digital, not just K9, but Pulse Digital, thank you guys as well. Remember, I'm just a normal dude that hosts the spaces. I'm not K9. I'm not the developer. I'm just Pulse Digital. I'm a member like you. This was a really cool event. And I know I was there with Bad Idea, but like I said, I was doing as much as I could to send everybody to K9, and we were all there as one big happy family. So I appreciate your guys' support for the partnership at Bad Idea, and so does Sharbie, and so does LTD. I know they already left. Shiba Cows and LTD are here together today. So just thank you guys for everything that you've done, and hopefully everybody that's listening back to this also feels the same amount of appreciation. So it will be 6 days, not 7 days, 6 days until we do this again, because as you know, it's Friday, so don't let this screw you up. It is not Thursday afternoon, since you hear me closing out of spaces. Do not miss your next appointment or miss your lunch or whatever you're about to do, because it is only still the middle of the day on Friday, because this has been an unusual time for the K9 Finance Weekly DAO Update, number 30. But we'll get together and do it again as long as you guys want to keep listening to it. Number 31 coming next week. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Shiba.